How are you, my friend?
I am incredible. How are you?
See, you took my word, so I got to use another one.
Yeah.
Fantabulous. I'm fantabulous, so that's all.
All right. All right. I'll take that. I'll
I
take
had to
that.
one up you. I had to one up
uh,
you. Where are you at? Where are you calling from? Where are you logging from?
I am in Dallas, Texas.
That's what's up. Now, how do you know
Yes.
Devin?
Oh, I'm
Uh,
here.
what had happened
Oh, well,
was
you look old as hell. What the?
Hey, man.
God, dog. You
You
look
know
older
how
than
it is.
me. You look older than me.
Come on now. I don't know all about that.
so Devin and I connected when I attended workshop. I'm saying that
Yeah, you came to a program, a couple years ago?
a couple years ago. Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
And you know how the energy is in the room when two people got, and they connect right away as soon as you walk through that door. That's what it was like.
I taught him well.
Taught him well.
You dressed up for us, or you dressed up for lunch?
I gotta go to this 1 o'clock when I get done with you. So I won't have time. Worked out this morning, went hit some golf balls, and then came over here to do this and played 54 between Monday and Tuesday. Played 36 yesterday.
Did you shoot well, or you just hit the ball around the course?
No, I said shot. Friday, let's see. So Monday I shot 79. Tuesday first I shot 81, and I shot 80 in the afternoon.
That's good.
I'm going through the swing change though, and it's really got me ugh. But I'm gonna stick with it. It's better. It's better for me.
I'm horrible at golf, but one of the jobs that I had, we were getting golf passes for free for some of the work we were doing for this course. And so one thing I did always love about golf was just the ability to go out there and how peaceful it is, just being out there. I'm sure there's levels to that peacefulness because as you get better, it's
That is my zen.
and you miss shots. Yeah.
That is my zen. I can go out there and just get lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, golf's fascinating to me though. For this, like, it's one of the few sports that you can't make up lack of skill with effort.
Nope.
Like in hoops, right? Maybe you can't shoot, but you can rebound. You can take a charge. You can get some loose ball. What do you do in golf if you got no game? You can't run between the holes.
Not at all.
You're exposed. It's like a boxer. Like you either can fight or you can't.
Right. And it's and the mental preparation. I think it's the thing about golf is that if you learn it early, you can play well at it. It's not. It takes a whole lot to pick it up later, because muscle, especially being an athlete, muscle memory is so defined in other ways that this game doesn't make sense. It goes against every law of physics. So you hit down to make the ball up. You swing slower to make the ball go further. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it goes completely against everything. And the margin of error is so minute, it's so finite. I mean, literally just a hip turn, a half second, that ball going that way.
Yeah.
And most of the time it's hard to correct because you don't know what you did. Like we're playing basketball. If Devin missed a shot, he could go back and know what he did to miss the shot, and he can fix it on the next one. But in golf, you have no idea because there's too many factors. There's your hips, your shoulders, your eyes, the club. Which one didn't do right?
The wind, right? So there's
so many. Many. This much movement can take that ball 40 yards to the right, 40 yards to the left. It can hit it fat. I mean, there's so many things, and it's hard to really, really address each area of it. But I wish I'd have learned it when I was a young kid. I love playing.
Do people talk trash in golf?
Oh yeah. The golf that we play. Oh yeah, because all they're trying to do is bet. That's all. Because the only way you can get leverage, Devin, is to put some pressure on.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can shake somebody's game, because that's the mindset that's there. But we played yesterday. We played So what we do is we play $2 a hole. Then we put in 15 in the skins. So every time you get a birdie, you get a skin. So when it's over, you count up how many birdies. And if you don't know birdies, then you get all the skins. If there's 2 of y'all, so let's say you had 2 birdies, I had 2 birdies, and there was $100 in there. We split the skins 50-50. So this is what keeps them. It keeps you in the game. It keeps you focused. And but it mess. It get tired. And they talk noise. They talk. They really do. They really do. And it's the ones, just like in basketball, it's the ones that can't play at all, running their mouth the most. Most.
Yeah. So glad to have you on here, Gray. Like this podcast, Corey and I, we in the spirit of inviting interesting, provocative change agents, people with great backstories, doing great work from all walks of life, whether it be in business, nonprofit, whether it be in the community, whether it be whomever. And so in the spirit of that, I think your story is pretty exciting. And, we thought that you'd be a fantastic guest to have you on here today.
You my dude. So if you said let's do it, then I'm on it. Let's do it.
Yeah. So today, well, I appreciate that. So today, as Corey and I kind of went, it's just a conversation, just like we're having now, right? We'll go where the conversation takes us. Really, there's no prescription here. It's just imagine us kind of sitting around a fire pit or outside at a coffee shop, or after I just took you to the hole and laid you up, and then and then the game was over. You know what I mean? Something like that.
So this is fantasy podcast.
Fantasy podcast.
Well, you always told me to dream big, Gray. So I'm just dreaming here.
Right. Okay.
So can we kick this off with just for the listeners, right? To get a bit of history on not just you, Grayson, but also you guys is a little bit of your history, obviously, without going into 6 hours of the, it all started when I was a kid. No.
Devin and I attended the same high school, St. John's College High School in Washington, D.C. And I was a little bit old. What am I, 4 years older than you, Devin?
3, I think. I graduated 87.
Okay, so I came out 84. And what was unique about our basketball program is that we taught each other. So as we came up through the program, guys would reach back and teach. So when I finished playing, Devin and them they're very good in the city. And I came back and I coached them in the summer league. So Devin would be at camp. I coached him then. And then when he was at St. John's, I coached him in the summer league at Blair, Sidwell Friends. So it was fun for me to really be able to get back early on some of the experiences that I was going through, things that I had done, but watching these guys continue to develop and become who they were and having a part in that. It was a unique peer-coach relationship because they respected me as their coach, but we were still friends. And I think that was a unique thing about that time. It wasn't because we came out of a very structured program. And it was and we went to a military school, so everything was that way. But our relationship with all the guys was friend and coach at the same time. So there was a garnered mutual respect there. And that's why I alluded to earlier, we were joking, but I mean that. I watched what he's done. I follow what he's done. I've admired what he's done. And so if he said to me, hey, can you do this? It's not a problem. Because to me, that's what relationship is about.
Yeah. That's so good. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I had a little context to that. So when I came in high school,
in 87.
I started in 83 as a freshman.
Oh,
I graduated in 87, but Gray was it, right? We had a long history. A guy before Grayson named Rodney Rice, and there was a Gary Potts and Carl Racine. There was a history of brothers, and you guys and so he was one of the guys. And so, you always look up to see who you could be, trying to figure out what good looks like. And Gray was that. And he was gracious enough with his time. And to build on what Gray said, it was friendly, but he didn't lower the standard. Like he held you to a standard. And if you didn't meet the standard, then he let you know about it. And it was coming from a good place. It was call it tough love, call it what you want. But although you didn't like the medicine sometimes, you needed the medicine. And that's how the relationship started. We've continued to stay in touch over a number of years. And I followed his career at Clemson, where he had a great career. And so whether it's the work he's done entrepreneurially or being a man of faith or in the community, followed all that. And the relationships developed and we've evolved and grown. So it's been great. So Gray, I got a question for you. We got what, a couple of days here before 2021,
Yeah.
right? Everyone's looking for, put 2020 to bed. I wonder what's on your radar screen for next year. What are you thinking and doing and planning for next year? Anything exciting?
Now, you know what, Devin, I think the one thing what you just said is I want to keep people conscious of leaving to 2020. So many people want to get out of 2020, say, man, we got to get to 2021. But what I shared with them was the fact that if you want to run when there's adversity, then you're going to limit yourself in success in the future. If there's adversity, why are you trying to escape it? Because any road you take to success is going to be faced with challenge, trial, struggle, overcoming. So for me, 2021 is no more than taking the same energy and effort that I had endured in 2020 and keeping that in 2021. I don't think any of this to me, and again, because before you have the tongue to learn it, you have to have the ear to learn it. I understood what was going on and what's behind a lot of this. I didn't get caught up in the emotion. I looked at it from where it was. And the foundational belief system that I have allowed me to remove the emotion and look at it where it is. So in 2020, I took advantage of the entrepreneurial opportunity that was there. We started a PPE company called Lumify Health. And we literally created a 3-ply mask that's actually N95 compliant, is level 1 certified, but it actually has a biocidal layer in it that kills the viruses. So it kills every virus. So we took advantage of that. So we positioned that. We just finished up a contract with Amazon for 2021. We still are in the PPE business when it comes to N95s. We do a lot of work with importing gloves. We actually now are manufacturing. So our masks are made in the US, but we're manufacturing gloves here. We're building a facility in Atlanta to do everything USA made. So I took advantage of that. I saw opportunity when that came. My relationships offered me an access door to it. Adrian Branch is one of my partners. Mike Holmes, that actually went to DeMatha, who was my first basketball coach at Metropolitan, is one of my partners. Those guys have had government contracts for about 35 years. Mike has. So I've really been able to utilize relationships for a long time. So that's me. New book coming out in 2021, bringing home the blessings, learning to earn what you ask God for. So that's going to be a new one in 2021. Continuing coaching. I love growing my coaching practice and business as much as it will allow me to do face-to-face and things that's there. So that's what 2021 has for me, dude.
Wow, that's a lot to chew on. So you got a lot. You don't have much on your plate, huh?
Not a little bit. No.
I really do like the statement you made about trying to escape adversity as well. And just real quick, I had a friend reach out to me. He just moved from Dallas back up north, and he's struggling with whom he's working for right now. And one of the things that I was talking to him about is that before he had left Dallas was that he was also going through the same thing with wherever he was working at here. And the one point I said to him was like, hey, you're going through some adversity right now. You're trying to run from. And what you need to really look at is how to work with these people or get through this test, whatever that is. The test was always going to come to you. It didn't matter where you were going to be located. So you're just going through the same thing you thought you were running from up north. It's happening there, just a different set of characters in this storyline, this plot that you got to go through, but you got to go through it. You got to really grow in that moment instead of trying to just run from that pain. Is that also something you're constantly in your coaching, business and what you do with people? Is that a major point for this year with the effects of the pandemic and everything else that has just come out of nowhere for people? Has that seemed to be like a major theme for you when you're coaching with those people?
It's one of them.
Yeah.
I did a book a couple years ago called Do Positive Just Because, the keys to the life you've always imagined. It's got 5 keys in it, and 5 is a biblical number of grace. But the first key is own where you are today. No excuses, no explanation. And to me, and it's the first one in the book, but it's the toughest, but you got to own where you are today. No excuses, no explanations. We tend to allow everything externally to dictate what goes on inside of our lives, inside of our worlds. You got to own it. That doesn't mean things haven't happened to you. That doesn't mean you haven't maybe grown up in a home that was split. That doesn't mean you haven't grown up with some financial challenges. That doesn't mean you haven't done some of those things. It means that you got to own it, because once you own it, it can no longer own you. I talk to people about controlling your own remote. The reality of it is that whatever you give license of your emotional capital to, they control in your remote. And it doesn't matter if they're near you, if they're around you, away from you, they're controlling your remote. So I want people to get centered in on your responsibility. Stop talking to me about everybody else. And Devin, and I have a book for athletes, the same one. It's this one, Your Second Half. And when I talk about it in this one, is transitioning out of sports, but I use the kind of same 5 keys, but I put them in sports analogies. So on the sports one, Devin, the first key is the eye in the sky doesn't lie. So at the end of the day, when you and I go into we could have had a great game, but you go sit in that film session and you're just like, oh, wait. So the eye in the sky doesn't lie. And it's there because you have to be able to see what you do. The film exposes everything. Yeah. It allows you to see everything you haven't done. And now in the box score, you did it. And you felt that you had a great game, but when you really go back and look, you can't deny what's on the film. And it's the same thing with our life. You can't deny what's on the film. I'm not saying it was beneficial. I'm saying that you can't deny what's on the film. So deal with what's on the film.
Yes. Man, that's good.
So I want to build on that. So I think, based on my experience in my work, a lot of people get it intellectually, but the problem is doing the work. So how do you prepare somebody to actually push through the storm I'll give you an example. Like if you told people, hey, you probably need to eat well and exercise. Everybody's like, oh, really? But they don't do it, right? They don't do it. So no one is not doing, right? So how do you help people move from the intellectual cognitive, like, I get it, Gray, you're right, I got it, to actually like getting the guts, again, get rejected and pushed down and fall down and keep going? How do you get people on that treadmill to, fight through the adversity, I guess?
I think what we do, D, is people focus on the action, and that's not where the resolve is. The resolve is here. So I talk to them about the battle of the conscious and the subconscious mind. Motivation in and of itself doesn't last. You and I both know that. Zig Ziglar put it like this: you say motivation is something you need every day, like you need a bath, because it doesn't last. Jack Canfield told me one time, he said that the subconscious mind and the conscious mind are like 2 sets of horses pulling against each other. So if you got 95 horses pulling this way and 5 horses pulling this way, which set of horses win every time? The 95 horses.
Yeah.
But we only work on the 5 horses. Everything that we do from a spiritual standpoint, motivational standpoint, was the 5 horses. So what I deal with them, D, is I take them to the subconscious side of it. And again, that's really digging down in the personal. See, I tell folks all the time, it just doesn't hurt bad enough yet. When it gets to, and I want to keep it practical, D, so I don't get into mind manipulation with trying to get them to do anything. Let's take basketball, right? You trying out for the team. I tell you, you got to run. I'm not going to make you run. You want to make the team, you got to run. It's obviously what you don't want. So I really get them to a place of, let's own what you really want. This sounds good. It makes sense, but is it what you really want? And I pull them away from the speculation of what they think everybody wants them to hear is what is it you really want, and hold them accountable to that. One of the things that I do in my coaching is I don't pre-prescribe programs for my clients, because what you need, Devin, might be different than what Corey needs. I'm not going to come with my 12-week program, because my 12-week program might not be anything you need. What is it that you need? And here's what you bring to the table every time we meet. And you pay me up front. Now, when your money has been invested in where you are, now you decide what it is. And if you walk away from the investment that you paid, you're telling me it wasn't that important to you. So why should it be as important to me if it's not important to you?
Right.
Yeah, that's powerful stuff.
It really is. It really is.
Then I just
diving into that subconscious.
I deal with it that way. So, not to steal Corey's thunder, but that level of candor and directness, is that? I mean, that's not. I don't find a lot of people are that. Hashtag real talk.
Right.
How's that received for a lot of people? Is it any pushback, or are people just not accustomed to someone being that direct and calling them? I mean, what's that like?
People don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. When I'm able to connect with them, there isn't much pushback because I lead with love first. See, most people want to lead with their coaching program. No, I'm leading with love. Let's find out where you want to get to. What's important to you? This is about you. This ain't about me. And when I take that away, it allows them to sit and be appreciative of someone investing in them and someone caring enough about them to be what they need to be. I'm always going to be that straightforward because I don't believe you can get results by sugarcoating stuff. That's just me. I'm not in it to be liked. I think a lot of people, Devin, worry about their persona and getting booked again. The first thing I say when I go to any audience, say I'm here for one reason only, and that's not to be asked back. That's the only reason I'm here, is not to be asked back. Because I have the opportunity to deposit, and if I ruffle some feathers, then I've done my job. Because my job is to get you to think. Here's what I know. If I can change your thoughts, then I can change your beliefs.
Yep.
If I can change your beliefs, I can change your level of anticipation. If I can change your level of anticipation, I can change your attitude. If I can change your attitude, I can change your behavior. If I can change your behavior, I can change your performance. And if I can change your performance, I can change your life. But it all starts with the way you think. My favorite books is As a Man Thinketh in His Heart. So is he. So I'm going at them a different way. I'm going at them to touch them in a place that only they can resolve and feel. Because now it's personal. When I do it in a room, everybody gets caught up in the emotion. You're a dynamic speaker. You know what that energy is like when you get in the room. But when Devin Hughes leaves, the energy gone. My whole goal is to make sure that when I leave, it gets better. See, I'm going to teach you not to need me, but be there when you do. I got 4 kids. I taught them to leave my house, not stay here forever. I'm training you to leave. I'm training you to do better. You know what I'm saying? I'm training you to get up out of here. I'm not training you to be dependent. Unfortunately, the systematic thinking and the way that we're educated is conducive to us having people dependent on us. So now we build a business on their dependency. It takes a real different mind to build a business on independency. I don't want you. Go do your thing. And again, for me, Devin, that is where I'm solidified in my biblical understanding. When I look at Jesus, Jesus talked about how he was going to train them and leave. I'm gone. I'm giving y'all 3 years. I'm out. I'm going to give you everything you need. You're not going to have it all. You're going to mess it up, but I'm going to give you all I got and I'm out. And to me, if I'm going to lead like Jesus, that has to be the mindset that I have. I'm doing this to get about your life. I'm not doing this to be here. And I think we do people a disservice when we have them still on us. You're not doing you. I'm not teaching you to you think. I'm teaching you to group think. No, that's the problem we got in the world. Too many folks thinking like everybody else. I've studied the Jewish culture for a lot of years. I got a book here, Breaking the Jewish Code and the Jewish Phenomenon. And the one thing I love about the Jewish culture is the Jewish culture teaches them to ask questions. Our culture teaches us to be seen and not heard.
Right.
It's a different philosophy, which to me is representative of the fact that they're 2% of the population, yet they own all the major influential parts of our society. TV, movies, sports. Come on. They have a different approach. And we would be well within our rights to study them and use them and implement some of those things into our own persona to create some different things in the world that we live in. But as Black Americans, we're more symbolism over substance. So we're not going to get it right anyway.
That is, you make a good point. And I love the I'm training you to leave points that you were making too with the children, because this is one of the things that we've been trying to instill in this house here and we use as one of our tenets is to empower the children, get them the executive skills that they need to be able to lead this house and let them play a part in their own upbringing. Like what does that look like? Okay, we need a chore chart for everybody to keep up with. What do y'all think needs to go on there? And just including them in that conversation and helping them really think and get into that groove of things. So I'm not having when they go to college, helicopter parent,
Right.
just That's not the move. It's not the move at all.
So Gray, so I think it would be helpful for everyone. I mean, where does that come from? I mean, you didn't come out of the womb with secret powers right? And so, you grew up in Washington, D.C. Maybe could you just, I think a little bit of your backstory, like we're a byproduct of our experiences.
Yeah.
So do you mind just sharing a little bit about, your upbringing and your parents and all the culmination of how you got here to this point? I think that would be helpful for everybody.
My mother was a principal. My dad was a teacher, drove a cab part-time. My sister Terry is the head of online education for DOD right now. I grew up in a household, Devin, where the success of Black America was a little bit more than mom and daddy had. And that's where it was. We were middle class. I mean, and really middle class when it came down to it. I never had what I wanted, but I had what I needed. And I appreciated it. But I had a family that always put me to plan B. That was what was drilled into me, plan B. What are you going to do when the ball's done? What are you going to do when it's not there? What are you going to do? So I always had a reserved approach to life, even though quietly by myself, I was thinking bigger. But I was around people who were suppressing that. Go do this. Make sure you get your master's. So they had their college degrees. Get your master's or get your doctorate. So stay in it. And that just wasn't me. So I would sit around. One of the things I used to do when I was a young kid was watch soap operas. I loved soap operas when I was growing up. And I didn't love them for the storyline. I loved them for the vision that I could see. I saw guys owning businesses, running companies. I saw them in control of things, even though they didn't look like me. I saw them doing this stuff. And I said, that's the stuff I want to do. I want to influence people. I want to impact people. So you add that to all of the coaching that I did all throughout my youth. And I found a connection with being able to influence, lead, and teach people. So I said, how can I put all that together? So I go to college. And as you mentioned, I had a great college career, but I never wanted to play pro basketball. And I never wanted to play pro basketball because what had been drilled in me was plan B. The average career is only 2.5, 3 years. So what are you going to do? If I graduated at 21, what are you going to do at 24? So my mind was always set beyond that. I actually, Devin, had a mindset that believed that people that played pro ball couldn't do anything else. I was here with Mike Morrison. Mike Morrison was here with me playing golf this weekend. And Mike with the Northwestern played with Lenny Bias. Mike was drafted by the Phoenix Suns and played on 5 NBA teams. And he and I were having a conversation on the course yesterday. And I said, let me ask you a question. Was basketball your only way out? He said, yep. He said, it still is today. He's still in that space because that's all they knew. And that's what I didn't want to get caught up in. So for me, moving into this small business owner's philosophy was anti what I was raised in, which is why I never went back to DC. Because I knew if I went back, I would become a part of my surroundings. My sister graduated from Wharton, #2 business school in the country, with a degree in economics, and moved back to DC and became a middle school teacher. I said, oh, no, that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? So I ended up leaving. Now, it was a blessing and a curse because I left familiarity. I was walking into business without any teacher or understanding. So 28, I was homeless. During that whole time, my whole purpose was putting my life back together.
Yeah.
So it started with reading. It started with engaging into what I wanted to do. It caused a separation from my family because the love was there. The philosophies were different. And I could not disrespect my family because that's what you knew. They couldn't understand what I was doing and I wasn't going to try to make them. So moving forward in that, I now was able to shape my own philosophy about life based on Bible first, and then based on every subsequent thing I could read that fortified me and felt good. So in doing so, Devin, so now that gave me the real understanding of how to be so convicted about what I believe in. Love leads everything I do. So I'm not judgmental. I'm not prejudicial. I'm going to do it the love way. So when it comes down to politics, I'm not right or left because ain't no politics in the Bible. So y'all can leave that how you want to. And again, I'm not here to Black Lives Matter. I'm not messing with all that. Here's reality because I understand the backdrop to it. I don't mind somebody that does it, but let's be real with it. At the end of the day, what's going to come? Martin Luther King Jr. said it. He says, I choose love because hate is too heavy a burden to bear. I'm just not going to do that. I don't have time for it. Physically, it's not going to be right for me. It's going to cause me stress, anxiety, emotional disturbance. I don't want that in my space. So I was able to do this. And from knowing me, I don't mind going against the grain. I don't mind doing what everybody else don't do. That's just me. So that was always part of my DNA makeup. What's everybody else doing? Okay, I'm gonna do this. And that's just me. I don't have a problem with that. And I'm okay with what may happen when I go there because I just believe in me. I've never doubted me a day in my life. You know what I mean? So hold on. I've never doubted me a day in my life.
Yeah, which is fascinating, right? Because we talk a lot. I do a lot. And there's been a lot of talk with parents right now about how do you develop confidence? Like, where does confidence come from? As if like human beings are a computer, and you can just embed like a software program, or I can send them to a summer camp, or I can send them to. So, what do you think if you were talking to parents today, and they were trying to figure out, because if you look at the data, Gray, I don't know if you've seen it, but social anxiety amongst teenagers is the highest in the last 50, 60 years.
Yes, sir.
Right. We got kids who had more than they've ever had in the history of the planet. And it's, just so when you talk about confidence, and you had to give some advice, what would you say to parents who are trying to create an environment where they can find themselves and start to believe again, or believe in themselves, first of all? Any thoughts on that?
The first question I would ask them, Devin, is where's your confidence? See, oftentimes we want to ask our kids to do what we're not doing ourselves. Where's your confidence? See, we don't want to deal with this, so I'm going to put it on you. I'm going to leave you there. I need to build it. They're going to follow what they see. If you don't have any, how can you expect them to have any? You're wanting, here's the problem, Devin. People want more. People want from other feet. People want from others what they're unwilling to do for themselves. I want you to be confident, yet I don't have any. Hold on a minute. So we think, as you said, there's a prescribed place that I can go and have them do this. The narrative that they're allowed to experience through social media doesn't give them a true depiction of what the world is. So unless you define it, right now, asexualness is the world. So we got dudes who think that wearing dresses is, what are you talking about? And again, I'm not knocking where you are, but they don't have a true. So how can you expect them to have a clear-cut, definitive belief in who they are when they don't know who they are?
Right.
And they have so many different choices to choose. And here's the deal. They're all right. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter. If you choose this, you're right. And if you choose this, you're right. But again, from the biblical standpoint, the Bible says there's a way that seems right unto man, but in the end is death. Proverbs 14:12. So again, for me, I can go here and justify where I stand on certain things. The world says, dress how you want to dress, be how you want to be, do what you want to do. And I don't have a problem of expression. It comes with its own detractors, and it comes with its own hindrances. Now you got to face. So how do you tell them? And if you're not the person who's actually leading and doing it themselves, you can't expect them to do it. And that becomes a problem. So they want you, Devin, to fix my kid. Well, hold on. I can't fix your kid if we ain't fixing you. Because here's what happens, Devin. He'll come to you, and because you have a different structure and a different understanding, when he comes in, he only knows you one way. See, the problem is exposing your kids to your flaws and weaknesses, and it's not true vulnerability. You just gave them a way to manipulate you. That's all that is. So when you stay true to who you are, they can't do that. My kids, I was married 20 years. I'm no longer married. I got 4 kids, 2 from my ex-wife's previous marriage. And my kids have gotten into recreational living. Well, they've gone and made some mistakes. So daddy lives on the other side of town. When they get in trouble, guess where they want to come? But when they come to daddy house, they know ain't no smoking, ain't no vaping, ain't no none of this other stuff. They stay here about 3-4 days. That's about as long as they can take it. Not that they don't love daddy. They know what they gonna get when they come here. And I think we don't have enough of that, Devin, when in the world when we do, because we're dealing with broken homes. We're dealing with those things, So the reality of it is the foundational example, they don't have one. So what's the example? Modern Family. What's the example? Things that they're seeing so now they don't have a filter and everything is accepted. So they really have no standard. And when you have no standard, you have no accountability.
Let me ask you this question. In terms of going kind of a little bit back on the confidence part. So when you are, say you're in that conversation with the adult about the confidence in their children, is it wise, do you think, for, let's say it's a parent that they are struggling with confidence, they always have, it's something that they've been working and getting better at. Is it wise then for that parent to say, hey, I want you to have this confidence. I don't have it all together yet. Here's what I'm in, just being very transparent like this, and to the level of understanding, right? I don't think you'd have that conversation with the 2-year-old, but you might with your 14-year-old, right? Do you think that that's a wise approach for that parent?
I'm transparent with the understanding that we're not friends.
Mm-hmm.
I'm transparent to allow you access to see my human side of vulnerability, but I'm not transparent enough for you to become my buddy. I'm not having dialogue with you as peer to peer. This is parent to child. Here's what your father went through.
Yeah.
My life is still here so that I can give you information. Because here's the deal, my kids' choices aren't mine. I can tell you the right thing, and you still go the wrong way. But if I told you that, you can no longer blame that on me. So I think when we're talking about that part of being transparent, yes.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, that is good. So Gray, what's the biggest challenge for you right now in terms of, because you keep hearing about the new normal, right? Everyone's throwing around the new normal, whatever that looks like, whether it's a new economy, new healthcare, whether that's black and white, whether that's race relations, whether that's, when you hear terms like that, I mean, does that resonate? Do you think that's an excuse? Like, what's your feeling around kind of where we are right now? Because me personally, I think everyone's kind of waiting around for the new year and like everything's gonna magically get better.
So when I look at the new normal, when I look at this, I had to look at this whole entire thing with the pandemic and say to myself, does it make sense? And it doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. I don't care how you wrap it. I don't care how you want to do it. So if I look at the backdrop, Devin, of what's really here, let's look at the real essence. The narrative is what's shaped the whole entire world. So we look at the media outlets in the world. They're owned by 6 companies total. 4 of those companies are owned by China. Disney's owned by China. ABC's owned by China. Viacom's owned by China. So the narrative that we're getting in American mainstream media is coming from there. So literally the move towards, and this is where we are, and folks don't want to deal with it, but we're headed toward socialism and communism being the prevalent way of society. And we don't understand what that's going to look like. People have no idea what that's going to look like. So when I look at the new normal, here's what I look at, Devin. I deal with what I can control. That's all. What they're going to do, they're going to do. It's my job to respond, not react. Response is about maturity. If they change the currency, what I need to do? Am I in position? I understand what Bitcoin is. I've invested there. I've done some of those things up front. I don't know what it's going to come out to, but I'm not going to miss it if that's what it is. I don't know. But all I can do is live present moment. I can be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. When I see what's there, I've got to see where it is. So I don't buy into the new normal. I buy into the message behind it. And here's the message. I need you to conform when I say it. That's all. And if I can get you to do that, then I can do whatever I want. And that's what it's come down to. No more, no less. I need you to conform. Because I said to the guy the other day, because I haven't worn a darn mask since the whole thing started. They can kiss me. But anyway, this is a podcast. But it comes down to it. I had a guy say to me, he said, well, Grayson, I know you don't like to wear them, but I said, look, it's not the mask I have a problem. Here's the challenge that I have. I have a challenge with the fact that we mass conform to something that we can't see, yet we have a God we can't see and we struggle with conforming to him. You will consciously not leave your house without that mask. You will walk around, put it on almost as a second, not even a second thought. But when it comes down to you telling me that you're a believer and love God and don't trust him, you don't respond to God that way. That's what I have a challenge with. So now it's about a mindset. So tell me why a virus you can't see is more powerful to move your behavior than a God you can't see. So I keep the conversation in the space of apples to apples.
Mm.
Now, if you want to get into the science behind it, I can do that too, but most people don't understand the science. So let me deal with what's practical. It's an airborne virus. You're going to tell me that an airborne virus can only go one way down the aisle in the grocery store? Come on. What, are you kidding me right now? So I look at, and again, it's not condescending. It's, come on, think. You gotta be kidding me. You put a plexiglass at the cash register with a hole in the bottom, the virus can't go through. What are we talking about? And a virus that was introduced led you to buy toilet paper, running like it was crackhead trying to get to, and this is how we started this? What? But again, it was an accepted behavior. People flew to it with no reservation, no thinking. So again, where we really are, Devin, this new normal shares with me how much work needs to be done to get people back to independent thought. And we have to lay down some real truth so that they can see that this is bigger than just that. I was having a conversation last night with some gentlemen, and we're talking about the Black Lives Matter movement. And I said, here's my question, gentlemen. What Black organization has Black Lives Matter helped? Just tell me. Now I can go to the website and show you how it funded Act Blue. I can show you that.
Right.
I can show you that. But show me, you're telling me about this emotional connection you have to Black America, fine. But what did that money go to? So show me the Black organization that it helped. That's all I'm asking you.
Yeah.
So let's not get it twisted. And why do Black Lives Matter only when white folk killing Black folk? It don't matter when Black on Black. Y'all accept that as normal. Why? It don't matter then.
Right.
Y'all can't march then.
Right.
So what was that discussion like after that comment?
They can't. Again, look, Devin, I throw it at them. I mean, the response, because here's the deal. They were caught up in emotion. I told some pastors this. I said, Pastor, let me ask you a question. I saw you out there marching with Black Lives Matter. He said, yeah, Grace, I was out there. I said, yeah, I saw you. I said, well, let me ask you a question. When did color become more important than Christ? Because your Bible says God is no respecter of person. I said, just let me know. I said, don't argue with me. This is what your Bible says, not Grayson.
Right.
So then I took him to 1 Corinthians 13 and I said to them this. I said, there's a verse of scripture in 1 Corinthians 13 that says, and we're all familiar with it, love is patient. I said, what part of that going on was patient? I said, love is kind. I said, what part of that was kind? I said, but let's go beyond. I said, love is slow to anger. It said, love does not boast. But then it says, Devin, it says, love keeps no record of wrongdoings. I said, so you're going to tell me about the 400 years of oppression? And you want that to be the reason you talk all the time? Are you not keeping records of wrongdoing? I'm just asking. Help me. That's Paul. Y'all talk to Paul when y'all get there. Grayson didn't say that. Paul said that.
Paul said
Paul said that. And Paul wrote almost the whole New Testament. I said, so y'all trust Paul. And again, for me, it's about conversation that gets you to think. I'm not here to argue with you. But I'm asking you, did that ever cross your mind? Do you even take that into consideration? Is that a direction that your thought can even go? Because you cannot get a true perspective if I'm only hearing one side. When I hear one side, I take sides.
That's right. Oh man, that's so true.
Period. And if I look at the media, there's only one narrative in the media. So how can you get another concept? And the Bible says, Hosea 4:6 says, my people are destroyed due to lack of knowledge. But the next verse says, because you have rejected the knowledge, I will reject you as my priest, and I will forget your children. That's why I said I got to talk to the parents first about confidence, because what you don't give them, they're not going to have. And they're going to need resilience from hell, Devin, to overcome that. Now, have people done that? No question. But we know what those numbers look like, right?
Yeah. So in this conversation, which has been refreshing and enlightening, you are a man of faith, and that is obvious.
No question.
Right. But if you look at, because I spend a lot of time in data, if you look at the data across the country, church attendance is down. Right. So I wonder do you think that there's any correlation or causation between some of the stuff we're talking about and people separating themselves from the Lord, I guess?
Let's look at this, Devin. During the pandemic, what I found amazing was that Home Depot never closed. Walmart never closed. McDonald's never closed. Burger King never closed. But churches shut down. If I'm going to direct a narrative, I got to get you away from where you can actually gather and get some different information. What I really noticed was some of the most prominent pastors, leading pastors in the world, had their mouth shut. Then I look at who is financially putting things in specific places. Big Pharma never shut down. Why? Says the U.S. government ain't missed a check, but small business owners out here did.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. So if you had to give, and again, I know that it's kind of cliche, but if you had to give some words of wisdom or words of advice to some folks right now, moving into next year, like what would you share with them about?
I'd share with them a verse of scripture, Devin. Study to show thyself approved unto God. A workman need not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Before you believe it, investigate it. Just check it out. See what it's worth. And I think if you begin to apply that to your life, it will cover.
Hold up. Let's go back 1 second. I want to make sure we capture that. Before you leave it, investigate it.
Correct. Inspect what you expect.
So that's heavy, Gray. So how do you stay? This is fascinating, right? Because you and I are in similar businesses, and people always ask, and maybe they ask you, how do you? And I use this. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Correct.
Right. So what do you do to keep your cup full? How do you stay in a good place emotionally to be able to fill in other people's cups?
A lot of reading, a lot of prayer, and I'm gonna say this, and don't take this the wrong way. A lot of folks like you, and what I mean by that is, Devin, your mentors, people that sow into your life, don't have to be in front of you. The consistency and commitment of other people doing what they do is inspirational. So when I get an email from you, when I get something from you, your 28 days of gratitude, those are meaningful to me. You know what I'm saying? So they act as energy, fuel for me. Because I see somebody else, almost it looks like that. I see somebody else in the game, somebody else in the fight, somebody else doing the same thing. So I don't get weary in well doing. I keep pushing because I see it. I don't get competitive with it. I'm embracing it. I'm encouraging it. I'm enjoying. I want you to blow up. Because the more people we can get in those spaces, the more opportunity we have to influence the narrative. They want a new normal. I want a new narrative.
Can we say that one more time?
Yeah. Normal. I want a new narrative. But it takes people who are willing to speak to what's going on, speak truth to power, and make that happen.
Wow. All right. Well, Grace, I know you got to go. Corey, any closing comments for Gray before he heads off to his lunch?
No, man, this was incredible. You want to give the people you have a couple of books out right now that can be picked up on Amazon. Is that correct?
Correct. And the best way to go is therealgm.live. therealgm.live, and everything is there. That's the easiest place to go. My podcasts are there, my daily podcast, the link to all the podcasts I've done, my Facebook page, my YouTube channel, all that's right there, therealgm.live.
All right. We'll make sure we put that in the comments section when we post this. I love this. This is great. I've got nothing else to add to it.
I appreciate you guys so much. Love you, Devin.
Great.
Keep doing what you're doing, baby. I'm watching, and I am thoroughly proud, impressed, and one day we're gonna hook up and do something live together.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, right? When human beings could gather again.
Correct. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that.
Well, Greg, appreciate you, man. Sorry about the mix-up. Thanks for coming on. This is gonna be fantastic. So.